Robert Calvin Bland, born Robert Calvin Brooks, January 27, 1930 to June 23, 2013, known professionally as Bobby Blue Bland, was an American blues singer. Bland developed a sound that mixed gospel with the blues and R&B. 1. He was described as among the great storytellers of blues and soul music, who created tempestuous arias of love, betrayal and resignation, set against roiling, dramatic orchestrations, and left the listener drained but awed. 2. The inspiration behind his unique style was a Detroit preacher, C.L. Franklin, because Bland studied his sermons. 3. He was sometimes referred to as the Lion of the Blues and as the Sinatra of the Blues. 4. His music was influenced by Nat King Cole. 5. Bland was inducted into the Blues Hall of Fame in 1981, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992, and the Memphis Music Hall of Fame in 2012. 6. He received the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 1997. 7. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame described him as second in stature only to B.B. King as a product of Memphis's Beale Street blues scene. 4. In 2023, Rolling Stone ranked Bland at number 163 on its list of the 200 greatest singers of all time. 8. Life and career. Early life. Bland was born Robert Calvin Brooks in the small town of Barrettville, Tennessee, 9/10. His father, I.J. Brooks, abandoned the family not long after Robert's birth. Robert later acquired the name Bland from his stepfather, Leroy Bridgeforth, who was also called Leroy Bland. 10. Robert dropped out of school in 3rd grade to work in the cotton fields and never graduated from school. 11. With his mother, Bland moved to Memphis in 1947, where he started singing with local gospel groups, including the Miniatures. Eager to expand his interests, he began frequenting the city's famous Beale Street, where he became associated with a circle of aspiring musicians, including B.B. King, Roscoe Gordon, Junior Parker and Johnny Ace, who collectively were known as the Beale Streeters. 1. Early career. In 1951, talent scout Ike Turner recorded Bland for Modern Records at Tuff Green's house in Memphis. 14. Because Bland was illiterate, they first recorded the one song he knew. They call it Stormy Monday. 13. While the recording was never released, Bland later recorded the song in 1961, which became one of his hit singles. 16. Turner backed Bland on piano for his first 2 records, which were released under the name Robert Bland. 17. Between 1951 and 1952, Bland recorded commercially unsuccessful singles for Modern and Sun Records, which licensed its recordings to Chess Records. 6. However, these records caught the attention of Duke Records. 18. Bland's recordings from the early 1950s show him striving for individuality, but his progress was halted for 2 years while he served in the U.S. Army, during which time he performed in a band with the singer Eddie Fisher. 19. When Bland returned to Memphis in 1954, several of his former associates, including Johnny Ace, were enjoying considerable success. He joined Ace's Review and returned to Duke Records, which was then being run by the Houston entrepreneur Don Roby. According to his biographer Charles Farley, Roby handed Bobby a new contract, which Bobby could not read, and helped Bobby sign his name on it. The contract gave Bland just half a cent per record sold, instead of the industry standard of 2 cents. 18. Bland released his first single for Duke in 1955. 12. In 1956 he began touring on the Chitlin circuit with Junior Parker in a revue called Blues Consolidated, initially doubling as Parker's valet and driver. 20. He began recording for Duke with the bandleader Bill Harvey and the arranger Joe Scott, asserting his characteristic vocal style and, with Harvey and Scott, beginning to craft the melodic big band blues singles for which he became famous, often accompanied by the guitarist Wayne Bennett. 18. Unlike many blues musicians, Bland played no instrument. 4. Commercial success. Bobby Blue Bland singing at the 1970 Ann Arbor Blues Festival. Bobby Blue Bland at the 1970 Ann Arbor Blues Festival. Bland's first chart success came in 1957 with Farther Up the Road, which reached number 1 on the RB chart and number 43 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was followed by a series of hits on the RB chart, including Little Boy Blue, 1958, 21. He also recorded an album with Parker. Blues Consolidated, in 1958. 2. Bland's craft was most clearly heard on a series of early 1960s releases, including Cry Cry Cry, I Pity the Fool, number 1 on the RB chart in 1961, and Turn on Your Love Light, which became a much-covered standard by many bands. Despite credits to the contrary, often claimed by Roby, many of these classic works were written by Joe Scott. 1. Bland also recorded a hit version of T-Bone Walker's Call It Stormy Monday But Tuesday Is Just As Bad, which was erroneously given the title of a different song, Stormy Monday Blues. 2. His last record to reach number 1 on the RB chart was That's the Way Love Is, in 1963. 21. But he continued to produce a consistent run of RB chart entries through the mid-1960s. He barely broke into the mainstream market. His highest charting song on the pop chart, Ain't Nothing You Can Do, peaked at number 20 in 1964, in the same week in which the Beatles held down the top 5 spots. Bland's records mostly sold on the RB market rather than achieving crossover success. He had 23 top 10 hits on the Billboard RB chart. In the book Top RB Hip-Hop Singles, 1942 to 1995, by Joel Whitburn, Bland was ranked number 13 of the all-time top charting artists. 21.